So, what's going on, guys? This is Mike rolling here, and in today's video, we'll be talking about some survivor perks that deserve some nerfs. To start off, let's talk about Dead Heart by David King. Dead Heart is an exhaustion perk, meaning that after you use it, you enter exhaustion and cannot stack with other exhaustion perks. Dead Heart does the following: each time you're injured, you can, after you activate your active ability button, you can dash forward, avoiding damage, and that's it. Why is this deserving of a nerf? Easy. Due to the fact that it negates any kind of damage, it avoids basically any kind of damage. This basically is a second chance for survivors that are injured. They make a bad play and they're rewarded by it with this perk. This is trash. This is trash for killers, uh, especially M1 killers, and for the trapper because survivors can't dead hard through traps. Why uh, waste nerf this perk? Well, there aren't many because it's actually a very good perk and kind of gives a second chance. But each usage should be more meaningful, meaning that if they use their heart to escape, the next chase they don't have that heart, meaning that they can go down. I see some YouTubers, killer main YouTubers, literally trying to bait that hard, and they always try to bait that hard because they know if they try to swing and miss, survivors can get a lot of distance and basically enough to do a generator or literally to win the game. So ways to nerf it is increasing the exhaustion's status effect for basically 50 or 1 minute. It makes each usage more meaningful, and if you really suck using that hard, you will get punished. Next up is decisive strike. Another real that basically every survivor use. Decisive strike after use save yourself or get unhooked by another person. You can use it for 1 minute. What in this 1 minute you can what you can do after you go down, you'll have a skill check, and if you hit, you stun the killer for 5 seconds, and if you miss, you do nothing to the killer. If either you hit or miss, this perk cannot be used anymore. A cool thing you can do with this perk, cool thing, is not use it at all because it won't count as failing, and the killer may be thinking that you don't have decisive. And next time you get rescued, you pop the decisive on them, and they get basically bamboozled. This perk is really controversial and it's really strong. It definitely deserves of a big and major nerf because, as I said before, this is a second chance perk, and this perk especially, and borrowed time, but borrowed time is not here. It's an honorable exception. Uh, Second chance perks like decisive strike, borrowed time make survivors play a lot cocky, a really cocky. If you play against a survivor that has a decisive strike or borrowed time, you'll see that they all will literally run to you to bait you to grab them or to hit them, so you can decisive strike or borrow time it. It's not fair. It's really not fair. This is an anti-tunneling perk. Yes, I know its usage. I know what it's for, and I know that it's necessary for survivors to have decisive strike. But survivors that play cocky don't deserve to get a second chance. But the game doesn't really know when you're getting tunneled or you're playing cocky. So I we cannot do too much about it. But a really good nerf and the major one would be decreasing the active timer from 1 minute to 50 or 40 seconds, really, and decrease the stun time to 4 seconds or 3.5. Why is that? If they have less time, they can play less time cocky, and the stun is less punishing than before. And that's pretty much it. Decisive, you probably encounter decisive strike 95% of your games. So yeah, be prepared for a lot of stunning and a lot of cocky plays. Next up is Object of Obsession. This perk is really toxic and needs to be changed the most out of all the perks. Why? This perk or it counters tremendously the killer that you're playing against, or it backfires to you. Why is that? Because you become an obsession, and if you become an obsession, your range is basically the entire map in some maps, and you see their aura. If the killer is watching in your direction, he sees your aura. Why is this a big counter to a lot of killers? Prep killers like Trapper and Hag need to trap, and if the survivors know that there's a trap, they won't or they will deactivate it, destroying the factor of surprise that these killers have. And is countered by killers that have the undetectable status effect. Wraith Ghostface, for example. Why? Because this only works outside of of the killer's terror radius, the part that you can see them. But the part that they can see you always works. If they are always outside of the terror ranges, undetectable have zero terror radius and generally are stealth, literally they can see you and you can't see them, meaning you you really fucked your team. But yeah, this perk is too toxic, gives too much information, reliable information, or it's just too trash and gives reliable information to the killer. Two things that are really broken and really unhealthy for the game. And this perk, out of all of them, even Decisive Strike deserves to have a change. How? I don't know. It needs to be reworked a lot. So yeah, maybe give 4 seconds of seeing each other, stuff like that, whatever. But this part needs to be changed. Next up is adrenaline. Why is this a very broken perk? Because it instantly heals you, it gives a movement speed buff, and resets the exhaustion perk. What does this mean? If you if you are exhausted, you can use adrenaline. Basically, this is not okay. If you are exhausted, you shouldn't use another exhaustion perks. This cannot be this cannot be alright. If you can use basically a sprint no sorry, yes, sprint burst against something like the hunters, and then someone pops a generator to the last one and you back up and you're running away. This is not okay. This is not okay. The only killer perk there is a counter to this is nowhere, and we all know that survivors love to cry about nowhere. So why survivors cry about nowhere and bring the adrenaline? It makes no sense. It makes no fucking sense. At least know it can be deactivated by doing a totem. Adrenaline cannot be deactivated by the killer at all, at all. And he also, if you're playing Freddy, you also the survivors wake up, meaning that you'll lose all the pressure. Adrenaline is just really, really, really a good perk for survivors and deserves to be nerfed. How it's easy, decrease the running speed timer by 3 seconds, and make adrenaline not ignore exhausted status effect. Meaning, if you're exhausted, you cannot use this perk. This can be a a good, very healthy change. So survivors cannot bring dead heart or plus adrenaline or sprint burst plus adrenaline. That's it. Honorable mentions are unbreakable. Each time you're in the dying state, in the dying status, you can recover yourself one state, meaning you'll get back into injured one time per match, and your recovering speed is increased by 35%. This the dual combo between unbreakable and decisive is nasty. Why? Decisive has 1 minute before it no longer can be activated, and unbreakable basically uh, takes 50 seconds or less so you can go back up. Yeah, killers have to be aware that you have unbreakable, meaning that they cannot slug you for a lot of time, or they might lose pressure. So what's the counterplay? Pick them up. But if they pick them up, they get decisive because the game thinks that you're tunneling them. What? This is not. This tool needs to be nerfed. But if I had to nerf unbreakable, uh, dying speed to 20% more, basically. Uh, Next up is portal time. Why portal time is broken? Because it makes survivors play dumb. The idea is well, so survivors cannot be tunneled, but basically a survivor that only uses this not cocky is uh, 1 in 5. If a survivor has borrowed time, they are more likely to go to you, so you can play an attack and run away. That's it. What this does is after you rescue a survivor and hooked in this inside of the killer center radius, the person that has been rescued gains the enduring status effect for 15 seconds, and if the killer hits them while they have the endurance status effect, they'll have deep wounds instead of an insta down. So yeah, basically another second chance perk. I'm I'm not saying that this shouldn't exist second chances perk, but it makes survivors play so cocky and so bad. It's amazing. Imagine this: you're playing the killer and you're going against survivors that have, for example, the heart, the decisive strike, and breakable or borrowed time and adrenaline. I'm not saying object of obsession because object of obsession is toxic. Is a toxic perk and needs to be reworked. That's why it's here. But imagine that they have instead of object of obsession, they have unbreakable, for example. I mean, so you have basically 4 second chances. What? So you have a second chance with Death Heart. If you misplay of the kill is just too close and you need the little bit of distance before the pallet or the window, you can use it. Bomba. Second chance. If you're hooked and you're rescued and the killer knocks you down, you have 1 minute. And if they pick you before the minute ends, decisive strike. It's another second chance. If you have unbreakable, if they decide to slug you and they take too long, bam, back up. Second chance. If you are injured or you are down and you see that the killer is nearly going to get you and they pop the last gen, second chance. You basically run away from the killer. You outrun the killer. And then people start crying about no, it's. Jesus Christ, when they have so many second chances. I'm not saying that these perks shouldn't exist; they should exist. But the way they are right now is just too much. You can basically have 4 second chances 4 second chances. Imagine this. This is one survivor build, and the other one has borrowed time. The survivor that had unbreakable has 5 second chances now. And if they have, for example, the combo of no mither with soul guard, no mither makes you injure the entire game, but you leave no pool of blood, and you can pull yourself back from the ground all the time. With the cost of always being injured, this it may be trash perk, no mither, but at least it's fair. You suffer. You gain a consequence. If you want to always pick yourself up and punish killer from slugging, you can always pick yourself up, but you always stay injured. And Soul Guard is another nasty perk, but compared to this, it's basically a godsend. Each time you are healed and you recover from the dying state, you gain endurance for 8 seconds. This is a good timer. This should be the timer of borrow time. 8 seconds, or probably not 8, 10. I'm being a little bit unfair. 10 seconds. It should be the timer of the borrow time because a killer won't. If they are really tunneling you, they won't need 15 seconds just to hit you. They just need literally 10 seconds. If Barton needs, you need to be inside of the killer stair radius, meaning he's not far, and that's it, and you activate it. So if he's not far, it's not going to take 15 seconds to get to you. He's going to take less. So yeah. And I forgot to mention, if you cleanse an X, you can recover from the dying state. Yeah, this is a broken part of Soul Guard that every killer likes to hate. But if you want to counter Soul Guard, you bring no X's, and that's kind of nasty because you don't know if they bring a Soul Guard. And yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, it's a 4v1 game. Basically, survivors have 16 perks. 16 perks. And nine of those, 16 is Decipher Strike. 4 of those 16 is an exhaustion perk, maybe Sprint Burst or a Dead Hard. At least they have a little bit of. It can be Sprint Burst or Dead Hard. And another 4 of those, probably the Unbreakable or Borrow Time. The last one is a little, generally is adrenaline or something to heal yourself. Generally is adrenaline. Imagine going to each survivor after you hook and you wait 59 seconds before you pick up. You miscalculated and you get decisive strike. This is a shitty feeling. Imagine go. Imagine having a fear of they having decisive strike and leave them on the ground just to pick themselves up with unbreakable. Imagine having a survivor that made a misplay and dash away and still make it out alive. Imagine having literally 3 of them on the ground. You're trying to hardest to win. There is only one general left, and they popped it, and all the 3 of them are up. Imagine that playing as a killer, seeing all of that, waiting 59 seconds. You miss time 1 second. You pick the survivor up, and you get decisive strike for five. You get stunned for 5 seconds. The survivor makes a shitty play, and you try to capitalize it. They dash away to safety. They play cocky, a lot of cocky. They get hit, they get injured. They are all on the ground, and that everyone has a decisive or sprint burst, and they all back off the ground, doing the last one doing a generator. I don't know. They are. This makes so that the meta is really just a very few selection of perks. I'm not saying it shouldn't. I mean, it's impossible to keep everything balanced, but I still remember when the most broken perk of the game was self care. Oh, so yeah, I'm a boomer of this game. But yeah, this is pretty much it. I've been Microlink. Please like and subscribe. Turn on notification. Comment down below which video you want me to do next. And this is pretty much it. See you.